Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had the wrong ending and
was the worst film of the trilogy.
Now, I know that's an unpopular opinion, so let me explain myself before you blow up the comments. Now, first of all, I'll say it's not a bad story, or even a bad movie. In fact, it was actually a good movie when you consider the types of movies that Marvel released after Endgame.
Exhibit A.
So why am I hating? Well, several reasons. The Guardians of the Galaxy films are about a group of intergalactic, traumatized criminals and social rejects who find each other and form a sort of family. Star-Lord is a somehow lovable, womanizing man-child who's dealing with trauma from both of his parents between loss and abandonment. Gamora is an orphan who was raised by the genocidal maniac who killed her parents. She has to work to unbrainwash herself from his control. Drax is a mourning father and widower who has resorted to violence in order to process his grief. Rocket is an animal experiment who's been tortured his entire life and is now broken free and trying to learn how to love other creatures. Groot is the physical embodiment of the innocence, love, and compassion that they all lack and desperately need. Nebula, Yondu, Mantis, and the Nepo baby all contribute to the story in some capacity as well. As a whole, these films are about loss and suffering, and how in the midst of these things, family and community can help us process and sometimes even grow. It's a story that's comforting, funny, and visually spectacular. But the third film just lost balance. Funny at times, it was
Darker and more violent.
But its worst crime of all was that it split up the family that all the characters were seeking. Perhaps it would have been better if the main characters did die, because if they did die, they would have died together, rather than the ending we got, which just felt
Rushed.
why bring back Gamora at all, if to just leave her in the same place at the end of the story that she was in the beginning of the story? Especially when you add in the fact that she wasn't anything like her character in any of the other films at all. Meanwhile, Drax, a complex character with serious grief, was reduced to nothing more than a joke in this film, a problem that progressed throughout the entire series. The third film outright calls him an idiot.
But in the end, he's a dad, so it's okay?
And Star-Lord's big moment of growth is that he returns home to his grandfather, who he left all those years ago when running from trauma. But is it really growth, or is he just running from the loss of Gamora like he did from the loss of his mom? So no, it wasn't a bad film. But I just feel that it wasn't the ending that the Guardians deserved because it forgot what these movies were all about.